The Game of Thrones finale set the all-time record in viewership numbers for HBO. What that means is that there are a lot of disappointed viewers out there, and the backlash is brutal. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the programming president of HBO commented on that and more, and what he had to say was interesting, as it implies what HBO really feels about the final seasons, as well as how their spin-off and prequel plans have changed. In this editorial, I will begin by detailing just how badly rushed Season 7 and 8 were, before exploring the popular belief that this urgency was somehow caused by Star Wars. Finally, I'll explore the HBO stance on the matter and the current state of the planned prequels. As established in the Postmortem, the first 6 seasons were all about building the story up and adapting the books by George R.R. Martin. By the end of the 6th season, Benioff and Weiss had adapted everything they were going to of the published source material. At that point, they knew how the story was going to end, and they set themselves a fixed endpoint, 13 episodes away. What that means is that this final episode, the Iron Throne, is what they have been building towards ever since the very beginning of Season 7. Or, to be more accurate, they effectively started out with finale, and then retro-engineered everything from the penultimate episode until the first episode of Season 7, in order to bridge the gap between the end of Season 6 and the beginning of the final episode. Those 12 intervening episodes were exclusively about getting from here to there, and both prior character development, plot points, and even storylines were sacrificed to that end. They even abandoned plot points from the penultimate episode. Varys Birds didn't do anything at all. By the time the finale began, the entire series was compromised in order to get to it. It wasn't just King's Landing that was a smoking ruin when the finale began, the whole narrative was. Why would they do such a thing? Why just 13 episodes? What was the hurry? As is well known by now, Benioff and Weiss will be helming the next Star Wars trilogy, and many have jumped to the conclusion that they rushed the end of Game of Thrones specifically so they could do Star Wars. However, I don't believe that is the case. On the contrary, I think they begun the Star Wars talks because their Game of Thrones commitments were ending anyway. You see, Benioff and Weiss wanted to end Game of Thrones after 7 seasons from day one, and there definitely weren't any Star Wars talks back then. They reiterated their desire to end Game of Thrones after 7 seasons 5 years ago, in March of 2014, when they were at the halfway point. I very much doubt that there were any Star Wars talks back then either. 1 year later, in March of 2015, they reiterated their 7-season end goal yet again, and I still don't think there are any Star Wars talks at this stage. By this time though, HBO wanted more seasons of Game of Thrones, now a massive hit for them. But they would reluctantly agree to end it after 7 seasons if Benioff and Weiss insisted, which they did. At the time, Benioff said, "We know basically how many hours are left in this story. We don't want to add 10 hours to that. It's about finding that sweet spot, so it works for us and for HBO, and, most of all, it works for the audience." Benioff and Weiss got their way. They needed a few more hours than a normal 10-episode season though, so instead of expanding Season 7 to 13 episodes, they cut it in half and called Season 7 Part 2 for Season 8. George R.R. Martin evidently was none too pleased with ending it so soon.
Why is it ending?
I don't know. Ask David and Dan when they come through. We could have gone to 11, 12, 13 seasons, but I guess they wanted a life. There was a period like 5 years ago where they were saying 7 seasons and I was saying 10 seasons. And, they won. They're the ones actually working on it.
HBO also did not agree with the decision to end the series at this point, even if they went along with it. The Hollywood Reporter asked HBO programming president Casey Bloys to talk them through the decision of ending it with such an abbreviated run, to which he replied, "No, I cannot talk you through that decision. The guys have known what they wanted to do for a long time. They had a plan in their mind. I've been on record saying I'd take 5 more seasons, but they had a plan they wanted to do, and this made sense to them. They made this decision a long time ago, and they're doing it exactly how they planned to do it. That's some heavy distancing right there, and there was plenty more where that came from. When asked if there was a conversation about the larger takeaways that Benioff and Weiss hoped to convey about power as part of the series finale, he answered, "I'm not going to throw more fire on the discussion by characterizing their thinking behind it. I think the final season, the show, the finale speaks for itself. It's not fair for me to characterize their thinking." So basically, no hint of them all being behind this and in agreement. What he is saying here is that this is all on Benioff and Weiss. The Hollywood Reporter even asked if there was a way that Game of Thrones could have continued on without Benioff and Weiss in its current form, to which he answered, "No, I don't think any of the actors would have done it. Shows have to come to an end. This was 8 seasons. It's a great epic, and shows have to come to a close. It's part of the TV life cycle. This is the politically correct and the right thing to say, but it's pure spin. Give them their usual incremental payment increases, and the actors would have been more than happy to stay on for longer, with or without other showrunners. Any complaining they might do is posturing to score a bigger payday. Don't believe the excuse about the actors wanting to move on. For most of them, this is the highlight of their career, and as good as it's going to get. They are in no rush to end a gig as sweet as Game of Thrones. As for HBO, I assure you, they regret the trust they placed in Benioff and Weiss. Even the entertainment media are stating outright that the rushed end was a mistake. So why did they do it, if not for Star Wars? They have never said, so we don't know. But if I had to guess, my speculation would be that they wanted a fixed endpoint, since every great story must come to an end, and they didn't want it to overstay its welcome with the audience. In order to further their career, it would be in their own interest to end it while the audience wanted more, and while they were hot and in demand because of it, so they can score an even better gig the next time. Events aligned in such a way that the better gig turned out to be Star Wars. The Hollywood Reporter also asked HBO about the prequel series. At one point, 5 were being developed, but last we heard, there were 3 in various stages of development, one of which is already filming. Programming President Casey Bloys answered that there are no plans currently to put anything more in development. We are not actively looking or going beyond what we've got in the current pilot. That is code for that everything else has been put on indefinite hold. What that means is that there are no longer 3 prequels in development. There is now only 1. The prequel pilot, which they're already filming. No sequel series with Arya going west, no more spin-offs, no more prequels. Everything is on hold until they see how the prequel pilot plays with audiences. It would appear that in the aftermath of the backlash, HBO have scaled back their Game of Thrones plans in a major way. It could be that the only Game of Thrones you have to look forward to are the 2 remaining books, which Martin now has indicated will have a very different end than the one we all wish we didn't see on TV. If he ever gets around to completing them, that is. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.
If you like this video, then please help share it and share your opinion in the comments. Midnight's Edge aims to give the most comprehensive analysis and commentary on genre culture and entertainment. If you would like to see more of our videos, then please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and remember to indicate that you would like to be notified when new videos are uploaded. If you really like what we do, then please support us on Patreon until a better alternative comes along, or send us a direct donation through PayPal. Also check out our sister channel Midnight's Edge After Dark for live shows and other rants. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay tuned for more here at Midnight's Edge.